It's perfect. Ideally,
Why do I have to help?
Oh, there we go. Hey, what's up, Reefers? Continuing the trend of tank breakdown. Today's target is the 17-gallon mangrove tank behind me. We're gonna take this tank down. I feel like this is becoming a habit. The last two videos involving me taking a tank down, so third time's a charm. All right, to be a little bit more accurate, I am actually taking this tank down and then setting it up in its final placement, which is in my office where I can give it a lot more love and attention. Now, as you guys can see in the last video, I've already moved the clowns out of the tank. Right now in this tank, we still have the silver belly wrasse that I discovered in the 45-gallon tank right before I break down the tank. It was hiding in the sand for a while. The thing I'm most worried about in terms of this move is actually the really well-grown red mangrove tree. So red mangrove has a reputation of not transplanting well. Usually once you sprout it in a certain tank, you want to keep them there as much as possible. And because of a recent live stream from Mr. Julian Sprung, I think I discovered why. Now, from what I hear, mangrove trees really do better in fresh water than salt water. They take a little bit of energy to expel the salts. It's not the most ideal situation, so they find ways to adapt to the salty environment. Certain mangrove trees, they will excrete the salts from their leaves, and that's why there's this recommendation of spraying down your mangrove tree once in a while to wash away the salts. That is not true for red mangrove tree, which this one is. For red mangrove, from what I learned in that live stream from Mr. Julian Sprung, is that they keep the salt out from the roots using pressure. And he further added that if the roots got damaged, they would lose the ability to keep the salt out, and basically the plants will die. So what he added is that if you notice that your red mangrove tree got damaged, especially the root portion during transport or whatever, you will want to keep your tree in fresh water, not salt water, because remember, it loses its ability to keep the pressure in order to keep the salt out once the root is compromised. And I think that's really, really, really important. And my guess is that a lot of red mangrove tree, they don't transplant well because like during transplant, root may have gotten damaged and it no longer is able to excrete or keep out the salts, and that's why the tree dies. That was a huge, huge takeaway from that live stream, that random live stream I just caught on Facebook, which is fantastic, from Mr. Julian Sprung. So thank you. Now remember, the last part in terms of why so many people have trouble with transplanting red mangrove tree is my guess. That's totally my guess. And anything before that in terms of the red mangrove tree keeping the salt out by the pressure in the root system and stuff like that, that came from Mr. Julian Sprung himself as well, who is the mangrove expert. So I absolutely trust that. So today, my mission is to try to disturb it as little as possible. This is actually a kind of cool look. We don't usually get a chance to see a top-down view like this, even though I took out the reef light so there's no cool blue. But we do have the regular white light right here. So this is a nice top-down view. And there's that little ORA tuxedo urchin that grew from the size of a dime that was living in the refugium with a 45-gallon tank. It's probably the size of a quarter at this point. It's not as large as a red one that lives in the display. So I guess food may not be as good in the refugium as I thought it would be. Some of you guys are wondering, is Chairman Bao still around? There he is. And I think I'll be adding him to the big tank. And the two cleaner shrimps, I'm probably gonna keep them in mangrove for a little bit and eventually add them to the big tank as well. Fandangelo is probably gonna stay in this tank because I have the target feed and just too difficult in the big tank. So I'll probably keep that there. Same thing with the Christmas tree worm rock. Also got to be target feeding them because they're like fan worms. So this tank is gonna be dirty, and the macroalgae is gonna help me take care of all the nutrient issue, hopefully, knock on wood. It's hard to get the scale. It has absolutely grown. Like these are all new since I've gotten them like half a year ago. This much right here. So it's fantastic, fantastic. Actually, not even half a year. It's only been maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. So it's happy. It's happy, which is great. That makes me happy. All right, and here's the problem with having a tank on the ground. Because it's so low, siphoning is gonna be slow and I won't be able to get the bottom portion out. So instead I pulled out, once again, my trusty $26 wet dry vacuum from Home Depot. Oh, here we go again. Tide pool hunting again. Look at the water volume is so low right now. The reason I'm filming this is because I accidentally actually suck up some corals. I'll make sure they're okay. This is zinnia and a really nice mushroom. Oh, here we go. So here is the really, really nice mushroom. I think it's possibly Deadpool. Let me just toss in there. And here's a bunch of zinnia right here. It's just, that's not good. Not a good toss. All right, we'll fix that. pretty much bone dry right now. There's a small pocket of water right there. So we're gonna move quick. I think I may be able to move this whole thing myself, but dude, let's just get help, man, at this point. Let's not fudge it up. Emily, I need your help badly. She's so beautiful and strong and smart. So there it is. Everything's dry. Let's do this ish. Do you want that side or that side? Okay, got it. Okay, ready? Wow, how tricky here. Because I don't wanna crack it. Good. Lift up.
Okay.
Go more in the middle. Real lady. And then I got it. Alright, let's go. Okay guys, safe. Grab the mat. Here's where I need to give a big shout out to Aquamax for importing this fantastic tank. Really good quality build. I can't even speak. It comes with a nice placement mat. It's like a no nonsense rimless tank. Beautiful. Okay. Alright, that's nuts. The silver belly wrasse just jumped out. I thought it was kind of hiding in the sand happily, but no, it's pissed.
Moments later.
It's a mad scramble right now. As you can see, I got some water in the 10-gallon tank. I got probably like 2 minutes to catch my breath real quick, and let me explain what's going on. So basically, I dumped out all the water, seeing how a lot of the beneficial bacteria is actually in the rock and the sand, and it's really overdue for water change and just clean out all the cyanobacteria and algae on the glass. So I did that, dump out all the water. My idea is to use the water from the 135-gallon tank, because I got 135-gallon water, plus the sump is a huge amount of water, and I need to do a water change down there. So I went ahead and did that because I know for a fact that the water temperature is pretty much almost exactly the same. They have the same salinity, use the same salt, same temperature, etc. As you can see, all the things made out okay. There's the silver belly wrasse, there's the cleaner shrimps right there. All the corals are slowly opening back up, even though there's no light, no flow yet. Now the problem comes to the 135-gallon tank. Let me show you what's happening down there. I got the bright idea to use the 135-gallon tank's water because the sump was collecting a lot of sand in there. I want to siphon them out. It is time anyways. So my idea is to kind of siphon them out, just kind of let them settle a little bit and just skim off the top portion of the water to use for a 17-gallon tank. Alexa, stop. And as you can see, things seems to be working out well. The sump is a lot cleaner, not as clean as I want. Later on, I'm gonna come back in, maybe use a power head. I have a MaxiJet 900 and put like a filter sock at the output to just trap those detritus. You can see here, here's my first experience of a big tank. I used up all my RDI water. I'm making more in that little closet right there. So I used up all the water. That's my last bucket. And I'm not quite full yet, so it's gonna be fun. Hindsight, I probably should use that root bucket that's sitting outside right there. I guess we'll save that for the next time. So yeah, this is kind of like my first taste of owning a big tank. Even just like a quote-unquote simple water change is no longer as simple. But then again, I probably shouldn't be using like 5-gallon bucket to do water change on a 135-gallon tank. So I get what I pay for.
The next morning.
Alright, Reefer, so here it is, the Mangrove Tank in its final destination in my computer room. As you can see, I'm using the same Aquanite A030 as well as the Zit Lights UFO, specifically to light the mangrove portion. Now the rock work and corals and whatnot, they're all in disarray because I pulled everything out in order to make the tank as light as possible before moving it upstairs. So in the next week or two, I'm going to slowly position and try a different rockscape for this little tank right here. Cleaner shrimps here, huge conch is here, which needs to be moved to the 135 ASAP. Some of the corals are here, namely the Christmas tree worm rock and the fathead dendro. These guys are probably going to stay here because I really want to target feed them. And in the 135, it's just going to be really difficult. So as you guys know, Kramer, the silver belly wrasse in the back right there, came from the 45-gallon tank with a nice matched top. Since then, I've put him in the mangrove tank. I'm just waiting for tank to be teared down and things to be figured out. Okay, it's time for Kramer to move to his bigger house. But the problem now is to catch him. And I want to do it now because he's out and about. Oftentimes he'll disappear for like week on end. Oh man, this guy's gonna be tough. I think it's kind of, there's a lot of things in the way. It's not as easy. It's just my hand. Where'd he go?
The next day.
Okay, day 2. Once again, we're gonna try to catch this little guy. Dude, let's try to bring you to a better home. Oh, Went under.
The next.
Tried it again.
If I said, oh, she was too possessive.
Alright, seriously, this is like the 5th time I'm trying to catch this little guy. Oh. Did you guys see that? Alright, so this time I saw exactly where he dove into the sand. Actually right in this open area, which I could just dig up real quick. Let me try that. I've never tried that with a wrasse. You know what? I'm so confident that I'm just gonna fill the water. Oh.
Next day.
Tell me, what I need you to do is like kind of see where he's going and where he dove into the sand. Okay, that's perfect. Ideally.
Why do I have to help?
Oh, there we go.
You done?
Okay, no, that's a good spot. That's a good spot. That's a really good spot.
Destroy everything. You're gonna destroy the whole thing.
Gotta be in there somewhere, right?
Ah!
There. Oh, no, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you
Let
kidding
me
me?
do it. Let me do
Are you
it.
kidding me?
我覺得你應該喺前邊，我喺後邊包抄。
Are you kidding me?
You stupid.
Are you kidding me? You see how quick he was?
No. I see how slow you are. You can just do it now. Like, what are you waiting
Where'd he go?
for?
Where'd he go?
Behind the stone.
Okay.
Here. You saw
Okay.
it?
I'm looking. I'm seeing him.
Come on, buddy. I'm gonna move you to a big house.
Yeah, it's good house, man. What are you?
He's stuck there. See, it's just you being slow. What are you doing?
Oh, there are a lot of things in the
What are
way,
you
yo.
doing?
Okay. There we go.
Oh my god.
There we go.
Oh
I don't want
my
to pinch
god.
her. I don't want to pinch her.
Use your left hand to use your left net to try to scare it into the other net. Yo, you a handicap. You don't know a handicap.
Oh, there we go.
Yo.
There we go. Go in. Yeah, buddy. Woo. Let me celebrate.
What?
Yeah, here's a jumper. It's wrasse.
Let him
Like
jump.
jumping. No, man. Don't jump. So, follow me real quick. Okay, we're gonna add a little water. We're not gonna release him yet. He is not ready. We're gonna acclimate. Okay, we're gonna add a little water and we're gonna kind of let him chill a little. I'll make sure I keep the net covered. Whew! Wow, 3 days. 3 days. Finally caught him. Went kind of like scorched earth. So the big debate was whether to keep a...
The problem is you.
Maybe.
It took 3 days.
Either way, 3 days we got him. The big question was whether we do a yellow tang or keep the silver belly wrasse. Ultimately, I only want to keep one tang in this tank, at least for now. So I'm thinking to keep the hippo tang, because hippo tang is just so iconic. I love hippo tang. But at the same time, I want some kind of yellowfish. So I mean, okay, let's do the silver belly wrasse. Now, my big question is that, would it jump? My tank has Euro bracing, so I feel pretty good about it. But I'm gonna look a little bit more into a custom top mesh. The DNG worked really well, so I think I'll probably go the same route. At least
Why
for
don't
now.
you make your own one?
Yeah, but I need the frame. Upstairs I have a 24 by 24 right here, but I need something much larger. So I'll buy the equipment and we'll put something together. But for now, I think we should be okay. Nice.
1 week later.
Side note, so my fighting conch does not come out all that often, but whenever he does, he just polish off everything in the tank. We got a patch of cyanobacteria in the back of the tank, and I just put him there. I'm gonna give him some time and see if he cleans it up, because he cleaned up the rest of this tank within half a day. Hey, what's up, Reefers? It has been a few days, and the silver belly wrasse has been living happily in this tank, except, of course, when I'm trying to film this tank for update, he disappeared. He'll just kind of go under the sand, sleep for the night, and may pop out tomorrow morning. Usually he's out when the light is off in the morning. But I'll check again tomorrow morning. For now, I just want to show you guys a quick look of the 135-gallon tank. This tank seems to change every single week. Things are progressing really quickly. From the end is actually one of my favorite view. Look at this. The depth is tremendous. I'm gonna go a lot more in depth on this probably next week. I'm gonna break it down on what happened, why I decided to do what. Changes include skimmer going in, adding the dragon breath macroalgae. The current challenge is finding a way to suspend the macroalgae without tearing them to pieces. And I have a really interesting idea coming up that I'll show you guys next week. And also seeding the refugium and the biomedia portion with a lot more biodiversity in the form of pots. So there's been a lot of changes that's been happening to this tank right here. And of course, we didn't even get into the livestock portion. I think I've kind of figured out my fish list. I may be adding a new fish next week, not 100% sure yet. I've also started trying some of these new TDO pellets. I got different sizes. And I also picked this up, the Eheim auto feeder, because I want to be a little bit more consistent in terms of feeding, and I want to feed multiple times in a smaller portion a day versus one big feeding each day or every other day. All right, so we're gonna check back tomorrow morning to see if the silver belly wrasse show up. Uh-oh. What's happening? Oh boy.
Wow, come on,
The next morning.
All right, morning reefers. I need my coffee, but let's take a yep. Just like I mentioned, there is the silver belly wrasse out and about, just hanging out, being super active. That is always a nice sign to see. I think it's still adjusting to the schedule. It's not used to the fact that the light is on at night because my mangrove tank is following the regular sun schedule versus this tank's kind of like a reverse schedule. I wanted this tank to be on between 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. But let's go ahead and feed this little guy first with a little TDO. And let's put these in the feeding ring right here and talk a little bit more about this TDO in one of the future videos, but just one of the top food out there. And there you go, hunting down all the little pellets. Yeah, he's quick and aggressive, a little bit more skittish compared to the clowns. Clowns are completely fine with me. Make sure I watch him eat, especially since he just introduced his tank. And it looks like he is adjusting with no issue except for the reverse biological clock schedule, just like my wife. She just sleep till like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Alright, now that we know the silver belly wrasse is doing well, let's take a look at the mangrove tank and how it's doing. Alright reefers, and here is a final look of the mangrove tank at its final destination. Take a look at this. This is 1 week after the move. I have moved some of the corals and fish out of this tank. I specifically waited for the morning so that the fathead pendrel will be fully open, but of course the cleaner shrimp see that I'm in front of the tank and got super excited, walked all over the corals. But fathead pendrel is doing well. Fathead pendrel is really one coral that I really like because the amount of effort they put in is it's reflected right away. They get all the energy from feeding, not photosynthesis. So the amount of effort they put in will be reflected directly on the polyps themselves. So right now they're okay. I need to feed them a little bit more. I've been feeding like once every 7 or 8 days. I should step it up more. Come over here is another piece I'm really excited about. This is the Christmas tree worm rock. As you can see, all the Christmas tree worms see they're popping back out because the cleaner shrimp was again trembling over them. As you can see, the rock used to be brown. There's encrusting coral on it. I think it's Portis. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Used to be brown, but it turned into a nice vibrant green under the 45 gallons light, the radiance. And hopefully it will retain this green under the aqua nights, although I may be switching this light out pretty soon. And the rastazoas absolutely just exploded on this rock. I was struggling because I was really thinking whether I want the zoas on this rock or not, but they seem to be playing well together. Like the Christmas tree worms are still popping out between the zoas, so I guess it is okay. So I just kind of let it go. And over here, of course, I got my and over here, of course, is my green, what the heck is this? And over here is my green tree leather that's done really well in the 45 gallon tank. It has multiple stocks now, so I left two and a half stocks in the mangrove tank. Same thing with the kryptonite candy cane. I got a couple stocks in the 135 as well. And over here we got the murderous Bally Minimax anemone. 2 of them is in the 135. 1 of them I missed pulling out from this tank, but since this tank really doesn't have anything right now, so I was like, okay, well, you can just stay here. The Gorgonian I actually planned it from the 135 to here yesterday, but I see that overnight it kind of collapsed a little bit into the leather, so I'll fix that. Maybe I'll shorten it a little bit so that it will stand straight up. And of course over here we got the lovely blue clove coral that's a lot of people hate because they will spread uncontrollably, even worse than Xenia. But I absolutely love them, how they look and how hardy they are, so I kept them right here. And right smack in the middle is a frag of the Dragon Breath macroalgae from 135. I want to bank some of them here just to make sure that if something goes wrong in the 135, I'll still have a little bit here to propagate. And of course in this tank there's other small corals like the mushroom leather, some sponge right there, Xenia, zoas, etc, etc. But we'll go a little bit more in depth in the future video. Another thing I want to point out is that, remember the Fighting Kong was cleaning the backside of this tank yesterday? Well, didn't do as good a job this time versus like last time. So there's still some cyanobacteria, traces of it at least, that you can see in the back. But he has since moved to the front. I wish I did a video beforehand because the front and side portion of this tank was filthy. But this guy absolutely cleaned it up. Some people argue that the conch may not be so much eating the cyanobacteria than just kind of stirring the sand bed so the cyano kind of float off and whatever. But in my particular case, the cyano was so thick that if it just simply floated off, it should have like been somewhere because I have no mechanical filtration at all. So in my case, I do believe that at least this fighting conch has been eating up the cyanobacteria, keeping the sand bed pure white. Just look how clean this is. Now, another worry of this move is of course the beautiful red mangrove tree, but I'm happy to report that it did not miss a beat at all. In fact, if you look right here, this actually looks like it's about to spread open. This is new growth that will kind of unravel into leaves, like so. Can you guys see here? It's already kind of like starting to unravel into new leaves, just like here. And also here. So this is gonna be fantastic. One thing I'm considering is I understand that if I don't want the mangrove tree to keep growing upwards, I can kind of like pinch it off so it'll start spreading sideways. So I don't know. How do you think looks best? And also I'm trying to maybe sprout 1 or 2 more trees in this little system if possible. But it's rare to find an established tree like this for sale. So I may start 1 or 2 from pots. Overall though, this system is all set. We got 1 light for the reef tank, which I may change out, and we got 1 light specifically for the mangrove tree, which honestly I feel like this is why I've been pretty successful with the mangrove. It is no longer an afterthought of the reef light. It actually has its own specific lights that's tuned to its liking. So we got 2 lights. We got 1 single power head, MP10, that is taking care of all the water circulation as well as gas exchange. And then we got 1 heater. So, and basically that is it. To make my life a little bit easier, I plugged in a auto top-up system from XP Aqua. That's the Duado version, so that whenever the water evaporates from this tank, they'll pump fresh water in there, so everything stays consistent. Because as you know, if salinity swing, then all the other parameters follow along with it. And this is a super simple system. Once again, it's tank, lights, heat, and power head. That's it, nothing else. There's no mechanical filtration, no biofiltration chamber, etc, etc. I'm just gonna rely on maybe once a week water change. So the big question now is, what do I want to keep in this tank? If you've been following my live stream on Instagram, you know that I've mentioned African blue striped pipefish on multiple occasions, and that is still one fish I want to keep. But first, I'm gonna try a fish species that I've always wanted to try for a very long time, and I bet you nobody's gonna guess what I'm about to add to this tank. There's simply no way, and that's part of the draw on why I want to add this fish species. In fact, I'm so confident that I'm gonna make you a bet. The first person that guesses what kind of fish I'm gonna add to this tank, I'm gonna send you a free t-shirt of your choosing from my merch store, because simply there's no way. And this content is gonna be on until I review what fish I end up getting on my Instagram account. But again, I don't think anybody's gonna guess this. So leave a comment, have fun, stay safe, and I'll see you next Sunday at 12 for the video shop. Bye. Look at this snail right here. He got his quarantine hairstyle just like me. Boom.